Welcome to the Hoops with Us podcast. And today I'm joined by a very special guest, Coach Stan Jones, who is an assistant at Florida State. Coach, how you doing today?
I'm doing outstanding. Thanks so much for having me. I'm honored and always humble when people want to hear a little of my story.
That's great to hear. So, Coach, the first question I got for you is for everyone out there that doesn't know too much about you, could you just tell us a little bit about your coaching journey?
Well, I'll be happy to do that. It's really not a little bit for me. I'm one of the old school guys in this deal. I've coached at pretty much every level but junior college. Started out while I was in college as a walk-on player at Memphis State, now the University of Memphis, coaching a sixth grade team at the school that I'd gone to. And then I went from there, coached the junior high team back when it was still called junior high. That's how old I am now. Everything's middle school. And then I became a head high school coach right as I was finishing college. At 21 years old, I became a head high school coach at the high school where I played at. And we went on to have a really good run there. It was a very small Christian private school. I had great success, coached a lot of great kids. And from there, I got hired to be the head coach at the biggest private school in the state of Mississippi, which was down in Jackson. And I was in Jackson Academy for 5 years and had some great success with some great kids, but also did some landmark things in the area. And coming from Memphis, at that time, I mean, Memphis was a basketball city. We just hooped wherever it was, didn't no matter race, creed, or color. And there was still some issues going on where the public school kids didn't play the private schools in Mississippi, and I was able to partner up with a very prominent African American lawyer there in Jackson, and we fielded the first AAU team that the black public school kids and the white private school kids played together on, and that's where Coach Hamilton. I first met Coach Hamilton, my boss for the last going on now 25 years. But at the Lawrence Joel Memorial Coliseum in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, where we play Wake Forest to this day. So it always brings up a special memory whenever we're pulling up in the bus to get ready to go in the arena there. That's kind of where my break started. And he was looking for a specific coach, type of coach that had been a head coach at any level. He had been wanted somebody who'd been part of the five-star family back when the five-star fame camp was a very prestigious thing in the basketball landscape. And he was looking for somebody that had a reputation for being a player developer and as well as a team developer, which I think is important. A lot of times the young guys in coaching today, all they do is think about player development and they forget about you have to be a team developer as well. And so that was the first year they were starting the off-season 2-hour-a-week workouts. And so Coach was looking for somebody in that assistant spot who could handle that stuff while he and the other two assistants were on the road recruiting. And got started there, and I was with Coach Hamilton for 5 years at the University of Miami. We had a great run there. Went to the Sweet 16, won the Big East regular season title. Had some great games when the old Big East was at its height. And from there, Coach Hamilton got hired to be the head coach of the Washington Wizards. And I was blessed that he took me as one of his front of the bench assistant coaches, along with Larry Drew and Johnny Bach, who were just NBA legends that really helped me grow as a coach and helped me understand the NBA game. And but then that only lasted for 1 year before Michael Jordan decided to come back and play. And so he brought Doug Collins back in to coach him, who had coached him with the Chicago Bulls. Coach Hamilton was still getting paid on his head coach contract. I had to get another job, and I was at Mississippi State for a year with Coach Rick Stansberry. We won the SEC tournament and had a great run with a great group of guys. And then Coach Hamilton asked me to come back with him when he took the Florida State job a year later. And now we're finishing 18 years and trying to start 19 whenever this pandemic will let us we're trying to keep it together, but it's not really starting like we're used to getting started. So that's kind of my journey, and it's probably too long for your podcast, but thanks you for indulging me.
No, that's completely fine. That is one incredible journey. All right, Coach. So the next question that I got for you, like you just said about how the coronavirus pandemic is kind of messing things up within the recruiting world and basically the basketball world in whole. How difficult has it been for you guys to recruit during this time?
Well, with the experience of our staff, starting with Coach Hamilton, who's been doing this for 50 years at the highest level and one of the renowned recruiters and program builders in the history of the game, being able to contact and get involved with kids in the 2021, the 2022, and trying to follow along in what's going on in 2020 to see if we can replace the couple of guys that have earned their way into being early entrants into the NBA draft this year. That's not hard. The hard part for us right now is allowing kids to see the strength of our program. I mean, you could do a virtual tour and have a manager or a GA walk around, your video coordinator, and show them the campus and show them the arena, and show them your practice facility. And a lot of kids buy with their eyes, but we're not looking for kids that buy with their eyes. We're looking for kids that want to do something special. They want to be coached. They want to be developed. They want to be a part of something unique and significant that's different. And if you watch us play, Alex, you'll see the most engaged bench in college basketball.
Absolutely.
Our kids are very happy for each other. They're happy for each other's success. Coach Hamilton has built a very strong chemistry through a lot of different proactive means on his part. One being is we try to craft a plan for each one of our players where they know where we're trying to get them to. And we talk about the potential length of time, whether it could be short or long. But they know that there's a plan that we're doing for them to try to get them to their hopes and dreams. And so when you have all your kids realizing that, hey, they can't use the old thing when the coaches are playing favorites, they won't let me do this, won't let me do that. You can get kids to buy in and start playing for each other and for a cause greater than themselves. And, Coach Hamilton and our staff has done a masterful job on building that into our program. So what we're missing in the recruiting process, Alex, is when kids come on our campus and they watch us go through a preseason workout or a practice or a game prep, and they see the actual enthusiasm and the chemistry of our team, it immediately attracts kids to want to really consider being a part of it because it looks fun. And when you see us play, it looks connected. And it looks like and what you're seeing, the residuals of that is, we're going to have another 2, maybe 3 guys drafted in the NBA draft this year. We're going to go 2 years in a row with guys being first-round draft picks that didn't start a game at Florida State. And, you don't see kids doing that. And that's a testament to our leadership of our staff, Coach Hamilton's vision, and the acceptance of the players we have. So you can't show kids that on a virtual tour. They have to see that. They have to be a part of it. I was talking to the high school coach of one of our current players the other day, and he was talking. He has another player coming up that we're recruiting, and he said when you talk to the kid we currently have, he said, "Why did you pick Florida State versus the other school you had down to your last 2?" And that player told him, he said, "Coach, the day I walked on campus, they made me feel like I was already part of the team." And I'm not talking about the coaches. I'm talking about the players. And so when I went to the other school, the players didn't really interact with me very much or very well at all. And I said, it immediately when I was there, I wanted to commit because I wanted to be part of this group of guys that I could enjoy my time in college and I knew I could get better together with.
For sure, for sure. And yeah, I've been talking to since I've started doing this podcast, I did a couple podcasts with a couple other coaches, and they both had the exact same answer with you. It's basically about interaction and where they feel the most comfortable with the guys that they will eventually be playing with in the upcoming years. So, Coach, the next question that I got for you is, what do you think made last year's team so special, and what did you think about your chances in the tournament if it had happened?
Well, I liked our chances with this group. Every time we wrote with the referee threw the ball up, we had a terrific balance of high character kids, but they also had a high degree of humility. They were very humble. They were kind of over themselves. They could be happy when they didn't play great and somebody else played great, but they had a very fierce, competitive spirit. And our senior point guard, Trent Forrest, was a guy that he's the son of a pastor, and he's always served others, and he had a great way of connecting and making people believe that we weren't going to lose games and we could be down in games. And we came back and won some phenomenal games that people kind of left us for dead, including our last road game we played at Notre Dame. I think it was the last 10 minutes of the game. We were down 13 with 10 minutes to go, and it was a late night game. It was one of those 9 o'clock tips.
Yep.
And I think from some of the things you saw on social media, most of our fans had clicked off the TV and were already starting to boo us by social media. That they're throwing away the chance to win the ACC championship and all that kind of stuff. And Trent Forrest, MJ Walker, Devin Vassell, they just wouldn't let us lose, and we just kept fighting it and getting stops. And Trent went and made 2 big baskets and MJ Walker made 3 big plays down the last 5 minutes, and we ended up winning the game by 2 and giving us a chance to win the ACC regular season title in our last home game that following Saturday against Boston College. And, a lot of teams nowadays, they wouldn't believe they could come back from 13 with 10 minutes to go and in the ACC. And we had several games like that all year where we just fought, and we never did think we were ever out of a game. And so when you have that kind of mentality going into a postseason tournament, that gives you a little bit of an edge on teams that may be getting swept up in the moment in a situation when you're playing in the NCAA or the ACC tournament. And we had so many guys who'd been in that before. We played in the ACC championship game the year before. We had been to the Sweet 16, the Elite Eight, the previous 2 years. So our kids had reference points on what it was going to take to prepare, how hard it was going to be to win each game, and how they had to value the preparation for each game. So I really would have liked to see how this would have played out, because we had a great balance of long, big guards. We had size and strength inside. We could play small, we could play big. We played a lot of players, so we could handle playing quick turnaround games. So it was a great team that I'd have liked to see what they could have done.
That's great. That's great. All right, Coach. So the next question that I have for you is, during this pandemic, I saw there was about 700 and some change kids that have entered the transfer portal. And some of these kids being grad transfers as well. How do you think grad transfers has affected college basketball as a whole?
Well, there was a time that I thought it was pretty healthy for the game. It was healthy for kids that maybe need a little shot in the arm, a little different venue, a little different view of the game where maybe they could enhance. But it's like most things in life. I think it's turned into a crutch, and people are using it a little bit too much to prop themselves up, and sometimes teams to prop themselves up that they're not doing a great job evaluating the younger players and developing some of the younger players, because we'll just see what comes open in the spring, and we'll start during the year recruiting everybody who's got somebody who could graduate, and you start trying to do the things people do to try to find out if people would be interested. And I think it's not been super healthy for the game. We've had over the time they've been doing, we've had three grad transfers the whole time, and they were kind of fill-ins on guys that had to go, that went pro for us. And the 3 years we had a grad transfer, we've had great success. In 2012, we brought in Jeff Peterson to be a point guard for us. Jeff's now the assistant general manager for the Brooklyn Nets, and has just had a phenomenal rapid rise in the front office ranks of the NBA. But he came in from Arkansas, and we won the ACC tournament that year, and had a great run. And then 2 years ago, David Nichols came in from Albany because he just couldn't find a way to get in the end. He wanted to play in the NCAA tournament in the worst way, and he was willing to accept a lesser role to do that, where he had been a scoring leader for at Albany and had been a big part of their program there. That he just couldn't get past Vermont, and we ended up going to the Sweet 16 last year and played in the ACC championship game. And then this year, Dominic Olenichik came in from Ole Miss and became a super personality and big body performer on our team. And obviously we won the ACC championship this year. So we don't have one signed for this year. I don't know if we will or not. It's got to be the right person. We have a very strong locker room right now, and whoever we recruit, we want to make sure that we don't bring any kind of attitude or any baggage into something. We're really vetting people to make sure that we don't lose anything on the togetherness and the chemistry we have in our locker room right now.
For sure, definitely. All right, Coach. So the last question that I got for you today is, just before you said that you guys won the ACC and you finished 26-5 overall, what are you and your staff doing to repeat this next season?
Well, we're in uncharted waters, Alex. I mean, we've had a very good program in place on our off season development stuff, both in the strength and conditioning room and in our cardiovascular conditioning, and then our skill development. And obviously we can't do that right now. We don't have our players in front of us. You don't have that daily interaction with them in terms of face-to-face contact. So we're having up until this week, because we're in what would be a dead period because exams start next week. We can't have any team required activities this week, which would be normal if we were on campus. We've been trying to have a weekly virtual Zoom meeting and let everybody talk. We went from, because we didn't really get to close our season out and have that final team meeting. We were in Greensboro on the court getting ready to play Clemson in the quarterfinals of the ACC tournament. They pulled us off the court, and our season was kind of over. We didn't know that at the moment. We were hoping the NCAA tournament was going to get played. That announcement hadn't been made, and spring break was starting on our campus when we got back that Friday, and we never really had a chance to get our guys together and have that last meeting. So we did a virtual send-off where we did a little thing we call a handoff, where we let our guys, our two seniors and our two guys that are going to the NBA, kind of say their farewells to their teammate, put their challenges out there for the future, talk about what being a Florida State Seminole basketball player had meant to them. And it was very, very special time. Those kids were very profound, and it was very meaningful to the coaches and for the team to hear what they had to say, because they put a lot of thought and a lot of emotion into it. And then we kind of went for the next meeting of now our most experienced guys coming back. We actually have 2 captains coming back of our tri-captains. And so it was their part. Now, what are we going to start working on to get better for next year, and let them start sharing with their teammates? And we do a little thing where we call circle challenges, where we can call each other out. And so everybody had a chance to say, challenge one guy to the other, what they were going to do. And then we've just been staying on top of each other. One thing Coach Hamilton does really well with our program, I think all coaches should implement it, is he divides our roster up between the 3 assistant coaches, and we're called their personal coaches. And it's our job to talk about life, talk about academics, talk about what's going on at home, along with some basketball. But the basketball is the least part of that conversation. And so you stay in touch with FaceTime with those guys, and you really keep talking about what's going on at home, how they're handling this, stay on top of their academics, giving them things to read, giving them things to look at, giving them some ideas of, things they should look at through video, and they should request through the video coordinator, and those kind of things. So our challenge to them is to find a way, when we're all spread, we're spread from Montana to South Florida right now with our roster, is how do we stay connected when we're not in front of each other? Because you guys have a great friendship that's connected, and your synergy between each other is second to none. How do we not lose that? So the guys are starting to kind of take a little bit of a role in that. I was very encouraged yesterday. Every day I try to send them a little motivational piece or quote or something to read, or a little something I see on social media, a video of something from a pro game or something that, hey, watch this. This is things that we're maybe adding, or these are things that you can, think about while you're at home. And they took that group text and they started challenging each other with a one guy a day coming up with a physical conditioning challenge. They did this on their own. And it actually was one of our guys we've signed started it. It wasn't the guy that had been here. He said, hey, this may sound corny, but I'm going to throw this out here. Everybody do X, Y, and Z today. And he said, Raekwon Gray, who's one of our leaders coming back, you got tomorrow. When I got to my phone this morning, Raekwon Gray had sent one out for today, and it challenged his next teammate to who's got tomorrow. And when you see guys taking ownership like that, you're going to have the right attitude and the right personality and the mentality to be competitive. So I'm excited about the next team. The last 4 or 5 years, every time we lose good players to the NBA or to graduation, everybody thinks we're going to be sorry and not very good. And a few years ago, we lost Jonathan Isaac, Dwayne Bacon, Xavier Rattan-Mays. Nobody thought he was any good. We went to the Elite Eight the next year. Last year, we lost 5 seniors and Fiondu Kabengele to the draft early. Nobody thought he was going to be any good this year. We finished in the top 5 in the country and won the ACC. And so now we're losing 2 seniors and 2 guys to the draft. And they're giving us a little bit more respect. But now, everybody's starting to kind of, well, let's see, can they Florida State be what they're going to do? But, we got 3 really good talents coming in that fit what we do. And we got a very strong core of guys that have been through a lot of big games and big moments and understand what it takes to win at a high level. So I'm excited about getting to work. I hope the good Lord upstairs finds in his compassion in his heart to speed this pandemic through our country and give our doctors and research people some wisdom to figure out how to treat this and how to prevent this, and so we can get back on the court and get back to doing what we do, and that's trying to make a little difference in the lives of our basketball team.
Absolutely, Coach. Well, that's all the questions I got for you today, Coach. Once again, I really, really appreciate you for joining me on the show today. And like you were just saying, I really hope this pandemic ends soon so you guys can get back out on the court and get ready to repeat that ACC championship next year.
Well, thank you so much. And again, I admire you for the enthusiasm you're putting in to find ways to build your resume and stuff. So keep putting in the work. Don't stop believing, and understand this as a young guy starting into coaching is start into this thing expecting to have a career, which means there's going to be some longevity involved in what you're doing. And don't allow any losses to pull you back, and find a way every day to count your wins. And that's not just in the game when you play. It's in everything you do, moving up, and really understand this as a young coach. And for any other young coaches out there listening, when you start this thing out, the people that are the most successful when they're younger can deal with delayed gratification. The people that try to get instant gratification end up making way too many mistakes to stay in this business and get to the peak of whatever their potential and their talent is. So don't be afraid that when you make a mistake to reach out to old people and allow yourself to know my gratitude and well, you're always going to be grateful, but my gratification internally is going to be down the road when I complete my career and all is said and done. So I encourage you and I challenge you, and I appreciate you reaching out to me and asking me to be a part of your project here.
Thank you very much, Coach. I really appreciate that advice, and stay safe, and I will definitely be in touch soon to talk more.
Anytime. Be blessed.
You too, Coach. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye now.